Review the front page of Pain Clinic Workbook and you'll remind yourself that we're working through this project approaching ourselves like clouds instead of clocks. Hence we're working through psychological interventions and social interventions in the workbook as well as the body. Embracing the complexity that is part of the human experience that you are going through. Now, complexity and a cloud-based approach also comes into our movement prescription. And that's going to be something that you're going to be hearing us talk about a lot through the exercise and movement sessions that you're going to be going through. You may have even been through some of the sessions and heard the term movement variability. Okay, it's a term that is maybe a little bit alien, and it's something that I want to be able to clear up for you in this short discussion here, because if we were approaching you as if you were a machine or a clock and you had noise, or we heard that there was vibrations or unnecessary or unwanted movement, that would be a sign again that the machine is malfunctioning or it's broken. The part needs changing. Okay? When we look at movement variability in a complex system or in us as humans, it's actually a sign of a healthy system. And the way that we appreciate and look at that is through how a healthy person who doesn't have a movement disorder or pain, how they manage their postural sway. Okay, so if we were to stand with our feet together, and you can do this now with me if you want, hopefully you haven't fallen over. Okay, and I could even ask you to close your eyes and try and stay still. I'll do this here now for 10 to 20 seconds. And if you're doing this with me, what you're going to be noticing is little deviations that you are then able to bring your stance back to stay almost still. And in fact, it's impossible to stay still. We're always resisting falling. And if we were stood on a force platform, what we would see is your center of gravity doing a dance, exploring the ranges of how far we can deviate from the middle and bring it back. And that's an expression of a healthy movement variation, the ability to explore our ranges to be able to stay what looks like still. Contrast that with someone who maybe has a movement disorder like Parkinson's and get them to do the same thing. This is in your workbook where you'll see the blue trace, which was the healthy person, and the red trace, which is the movement disorder. And what you will notice is that the force trace of their exploring their ability to bring back their sway is markedly smaller. They have lost movement variability, movement variations, to be able to achieve the task of standing still. And how do we see that express itself? Increased falls, risk of falling, and a sign of an unhealthy system. So this is something that we also see in the pain literature. Neck pain, back pain, people who have had pain for a longer period of time have a significantly reduced variation of movements available to them. And that's also adaptive, because when we tense up, when our nervous system is protective, we reduce the degrees of freedom for us to be able to move through. So one of the goals that we're going to be looking to be able to support you through is reintroducing healthy movement variability, because that is what a healthy system does. Now, what that doesn't mean is that we've got movements, loads of variable movements all over the place. How this is best explained is like this force plate research where we look at sway, is that we see movement variability on the trace on the floor, but to the eye, we're able to stay still or able to produce a very repeatable end result. And if you look at anybody who is a master of their craft, take a carpenter, for example. A carpenter, someone who's a very skilled person with a hammer, they're able to produce the same end result in a number of circumstances or situations. They're able to explore a wide variety of variations in the environment to produce the same end result. If we bring that into sports, for example, a goal kicker in rugby, they're able to kick the ball through the post, and someone who's very highly skilled is able to produce the same kick, whether it's under floodlights, whether it's raining, whether there's the pressure of the situation of the game. They're able to overcome an enormous landscape of variations to be able to adapt. And that's really what movement variability is truly all about, is being able to give ourselves options to be able to reproduce a task. So the tasks in this program are going to be relevant to your everyday life, things like getting up and down, things like squatting, things like being able to lift things up from the floor. And when we're talking about movement variability, we're trying to reinstall a healthy variety of movement options to be able to expand your capacity to be able to adapt.